global warming was being marketed, and it became too work for me, and I had to take a step back and be like, if my country does not produce half as much as any other country in textile waste. Let's use an example, textile waste, because these textiles end up in our rivers, in our soil, in our but why I stopped upcycling. And here are my reasons as to why I stopped upcycling. The first one, it wasn't so easy for me to scale. What does that mean? It's not easy for me. First of all, how do you scale? First of all, like I just told you, most of the old stuff that I used to get were donated to me. Like people used to always say, I have given you something. Can you upcycle it, or would you want it as raw material for your project or whatever? You guys, I reached a time when I had so many clothes, so many clothes. I even started sending them home. I know the irony. I started sending them home to friends and family. So it wasn't easy to scale and say this. Imagine getting something old and making it new. How are you going to charge the price? Are you going to charge by the hours you've spent on it? Because ideally, if you spent, let's say, one whole week on it, and remember, this is one of a kind, right? This is one of a kind pieces. So I found it intimidating giving a price, if you know what I mean. Like, I was always like, is it too much or is it too less? Or do I deserve more or do I deserve less? So when it came to even selling my stuff, like in case someone asked me, hey, how much is this? I'll be like, oh my God, I have to think. So it was really tough. It was tough to say, okay, I got this for free. So am I only going to charge for my labor? Am I going to charge for my intellectual property? Like it was so hard to come up with a price. And I had to stop because I was feeling like I'm not charging enough. And the clients needed to even understand what upcycling was. I was the one telling them what upcycling is. And then also for those prices, meaning it's one of a kind, that means the price is going to be high. But then here, where we are, most people are bougie. You're not going to sell something that has already been old or worn and make it into new and then tell the person it's 700. I don't know if you get what I mean. And for me, while I was making these upcycles, I wanted to make sure that they are wearable. Does that make sense? I wanted to make sure that they are wearable. Whoever is wearing this outfit can wear it anywhere. Yeah, that was the main point. So the other reason as to why I started I stopped upcycling, sorry. It was because of greenwashing by big corporations. Like I got discouraged. I got thoroughly discouraged because big companies are notorious for textile waste, big corporations, and most of these are producing fast fashion. And they will come and preach sustainability, but and they will come and preach sustainability, but the scale at which they pollute or they exhaust resources is you cannot compare if they're up here in exhausting resources and then they're down here in solving a problem of sustainability and eco-friendly fashion, right? So the pretense in from those corporations that they steal fast fashion, like they steal fast fashion in the market, in the secondhand market. It's still fast fashion. So in my head I was like, what am I solving? Because if one corporation or one company is going to produce 500 copies of the same color and size, and then at the end of the season, and the end of the season is actually like 4 months, right? So at the end of the season, that is shipped or taken or whatever, donated to third world countries. And from that is what like upcycling should come from. The same thing was happening to me here in Switzerland where I'm based. The good quality secondhand stuff, people donate their clothes. There is a place where they put them, either put them outside or there is a textile where they go and put their stuff. And then those are sorted. So by the time you find something very cheap for you to upcycle, they have sorted out like different shops have sorted out, secondhand shops have sorted out something that can be resold already, right? So by the time you reach, you only have fast fashion brands to work with. And no, I said I'm not correcting another person's mistake. They should know. They should be responsible for the end, like the life cycle of whatever it is that they're selling, right? They should be responsible, not me. I shouldn't come and say, let me help. This, not even let me help, because that wouldn't be cautious. It's like you go to the broken house or whatever and you pick, but then while you're picking, all you see is specific brands. I won't mention them, but you know the ones I'm talking about. And you find tops with pimples. It's disgusting, to say the least. So all of this really discouraged me. Even if I'm upcycling something, I need it to be quality so that I can be able to resell it, right, and market it. And that wasn't the case for upcycling. So that is why I stopped. And also, in the same regard, these big corporations are very hypocritical. Big corporations, and this is also brings me to the point where I stopped being too woke when it became to global warming, because here I am as an African. I don't want to say my carbon footprint is excellent or whatever, but I can say I don't have to pay, or neither do people back home or anywhere. I don't have to pay for pollution of a big corporation that has never benefited me. So when I was looking at how global warming was being marketed, or global warming was being used again as a power tool for third world countries, again, I had to take a step back and be like, wait a minute, isn't this another thing to put us down again, where if we have to pay in the future for our carbon footprint, we're already paying. We're already paying in high temperatures in the tropics, extreme high temperatures. People here are already paying. People in Switzerland, the ski season has reduced to a very short interval, where if you don't go skiing during those times, chances are the snow is reducing, right? So that brings me back to the point of how global warming was being marketed, and it became too work for me, and I had to take a step back and be like, if my country does not produce half as much as any other country in textile waste, let's use an example, textile waste, because these textiles end up in our rivers, in our soil, in our but they're not produced in our country. They are definitely produced by companies. And what is so funny is the design is made in a different place, the production in Asia, and then the consumption in Europe, and then the discussion in Africa. That doesn't, and meanwhile, that's not just clothes, it's also electronics, because there is someone I saw who tracks electronic waste, and a computer that was being upcycled, quote unquote, from Germany ended up in some third world, somewhere in Pakistan. I hate the word third world, excuse me, in a developing country. I think somewhere very like in Pakistan, where they collect scraps, and then they use it for other stuff. So yeah, that is one big reason as to why I was discouraged. I was like, why does the small day-to-day human have to be punished for the sins of big corporations that they don't benefit from? And it's always the same people benefiting at the cost of everyone else. So yeah, those issues made me, it's like, I'm not enabling these people. If they are producing fast fashion, they should be responsible for the end cycle, not me. And I don't know, but I think in future every cloth is going to be able to be tracked. Like if it was made in Portugal, then I guess discussion should end up in Portugal. There is no reason as to why something made in something made in Indonesia and one in Europe makes its way to African water. Like you find it in the river, or waste fields, which are so rampant. And I'm not saying that these developed countries are free of blame and stuff, because we've also neglected our nature and our environment and our surroundings and our consumption and everything. Because if we had focused on our sustainable solutions, for example, in Uganda we had like back cloth. If we had focused on developing that, and because back cloth is literally back cloth, like a cloth, it's like the stem of bark, the tree, the bark, right? they remove the stem, and then that's already sustainable. That's already it's like clean and it's already sustainable. So yeah, that was a mouthful. So the next reason as to why I stopped upcycling is because I lacked direction. I lacked, you know, when everything you're doing is random, like every design that I was doing was random. There was no point where one design was correlated to the other, meaning, like as a designer, you have your flow, you have your creative mind. So for me, it reached a time when I would get stuck and I would not know, because remember, in upcycling you have to deconstruct and reconstruct. That's totally different, right? And I realized that I hadn't yet fully expressed my design potential. You know what I mean? I was always limited. And also, upcycling used to put me in a box where I'm the only one who could do what I was supposed to do. There was no delegation or outsourcing, or that makes it so difficult. You can't go anywhere if you're trying to do everything by yourself. Okay, so that's what happened to me. I became burnt out. I became bored. I became frustrated. But the main reason was me not having a direction, not having an aesthetic, not having a identity, which brings me to my next point, which was um, I was suppressing my creativity. By suppressing my creativity, that means, like, I feel like, oh yeah, I have to solve this problem of fast fashion, but I don't have to. I don't have to. At least I am aware that if I'm a designer, yeah, I am aware that uh, my carbon footprint or my design should be creating solutions and not more problems. So I was like, I need to stop suppressing my creativity because I'm looking for old stuff to upcycle or to redesign. I don't know if you get my point. I needed to stop. I needed to stop, rethink everything. But I took more than a year, and I was chilling, not chilling, but I was creating my new brand. And I was learning digital fashion. And for me, like with digital fashion, it came up as I don't want to suppress my creativity, but then within the creativity, I want it to like be a solution. You get what I mean? Yes. So me coming into digital fashion, I was very curious. I was like, oh my God, what is this? And with time, I learned, I got my certificate, and then I started my collection. And that's why I launched it in a virtual collection. If you haven't yet seen it, check in my bio, you'll see it, and you'll go check out the collection. And yeah. But yes, guys, those are the reasons why I stopped upcycling. Yes. That's the reason. And remember, so before I finish, don't get me wrong, there's something in my eye. Sorry, you guys. Before I finish, there are advantages to upcycling. I don't want to discourage anyone who is stopping. I mean, who is starting or who would want to start. There are advantages to upcycling. For example, one of a kind, you get one of a kind pieces. Yeah. Then it reduces waste. You'll be reducing waste, textile waste, something that would have been thrown away or something that would have been lying in someone's closet. You make it new and you make it better. And then lastly, yeah, that's all. That's all, you guys. So it was really fun chatting today. And leave a comment and let me know what you think. If you're an upcycler, or if you knew me from before or not. And if you did not, welcome. I am Tura, and I'm from Uganda. I live in Switzerland. Yeah, and thank you, and bye.